Hello everyone, welcome back to Ansarkari. In today's newspaper session, we will be dealing with the important topics from the newspaper of 1 October 2024. So the important topics for today are regarding the India's middle income trap. Further, we will discuss about the semiconductors and how they're related to China, which we have been really importing from, and technological advancements. Further, we'll be discussing about the nuclear energy. And in terms of health, we'll discuss about the silver dividend and how we can ensure proper growth and productivity for the current Indian population, especially the old age population. So starting with the first article, so this is regarding core sector. The core sector output tanks for the first time in 42 months. So six of the eight infrastructure segments, they witnessed a year-on-year contraction in production, while fertilizers and steel output they grew at a milder pace. So electricity generation was at 5-month low in August. तो इंडिया का जो कोर सेक्टर आउटपुट है इट कॉन्ट्रैक्टेड 1.8% ईयर ऑन ईयर इन अगस्त 2024 और फर्स्ट श्रिंकेज हुई है ये सिंस 2021. तो व्हेन वी डिस्कस अबाउट द कोर सेक्टर्स, कौन कौन से कोर सेक्टर्स हैं, तो वी हैव 8 कोर सेक्टर्स, मेजरली क्रूड, then we have coal. First is coal, and we can talk about crude oil. Then natural gas, refinery products, fertilizers. Then we have steel and cement. And at last, we have electricity. So these are the core 8 sectors, since they have significant impact on the overall economy. इसलिए they are important for the overall infrastructural development. Next, we discuss about one-horned rhinos grazing in the Pobitora Wildlife Sanctuary in Moregaon district of Assam. तो असम में है काजीरंगा नेशनल पार्क. When we discuss about national parks, so India has nearly 100 national parks, 106 to be precise. And major examples can be like one is regarding Kaziranga National Park. First national park was Jim Corbett National Park that is present in Uttarakhand. And also we also have a Kahana National Park, then also Sundarban National Park, which is also of UNESCO importance. And Sundarban National Park, it is present in West Bengal. And wildlife sanctuaries की बात करते हैं तो we nearly have 500 to 600 wildlife sanctuaries in India. Important ones when we discuss about what are the important wildlife sanctuaries, so we have Ranthambore Wildlife Sanctuary present in Rajasthan, and also the Periyar Wildlife Sanctuary present in Kerala. अदर प्रोटेक्टेड एरियाज की बात करते हैं कि जैसे वाइल्ड सैंक्चुरीज एंड नेशनल पार्क्स, दे आर सच मेजर्स फॉर द प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ द एनिमल्स और द बायोडाइवर्सिटी. तो other protected areas like biosphere reserves, elephant reserves, tiger reserves, they are also present. Biosphere reserves are, we have 18 biosphere reserves, which are aimed at conserving the biodiversity. और हाईएस्ट नंबर ऑफ नेशनल पार्क्स की बात करते हैं तो दे आर प्रेजेंट इन मध्य प्रदेश. एंड हाईएस्ट नंबर ऑफ वाइल्ड लाइफ सैंक्चुरीज के बारे में बात करते हैं तो दे आर प्रेजेंट इन महाराष्ट्र. Topmost example being Tadoba Andhari Wildlife Sanctuary. Next, Vaishnav undertakes 3-day Japan tour to clear bullet train hurdles ahead of Modi's visit. So again, bullet train developing this kind of technology, again that is of its own significance. But we can also consider about the actual need, whether it is actually required or not, because of the again various investments, huge investments that are required here. So Mumbai Ahmedabad bullet train is the pet project here, and National High Speed Rail Corporation Limited. So here concerns are regarding Japan, जो provide correct technical support and technology for running the bullet trains. When we discuss about bullet trains, so the first bullet train, again it started to operate in 1964. So Japan में it was introduced in 1964 with the launch of Shinkansen. तो शिनकनसेन ये टेक्नोलॉजी भी है, तो इसके ऊपर बेस्ड है बुलेट ट्रेन प्रोजेक्ट। एंड इंडिया की बात करते हैं तो अगेन इंडिया जापान कोलैबोरेशन में मुंबई अहमदाबाद हाई स्पीड रेल, दैट इज MAHSR, दिस इज द नेम ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट। अब बेनिफिट इसके क्या क्या होंगे, अगेन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चरल बूस्ट, इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ और इन्वायरमेंट इम्पैक्ट की बात करते हैं तो बुलेट ट्रेन में वो भी इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है बिकॉज इट इज मेजरली ड्रिवन ऑन दी इलेक्ट्रिसिटी। तो ये कार्बन फुटप्रिंट रिड्यूस करने में भी हेल्प करेगा एज कम्पेयर टू अदर मोड्स ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्ट। तो सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट के लिए और इंडिया जापान रिलेशंस और इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट के लिए महाराष्ट्र अहमदाबाद हाई स्पीड रेल, this initiative it becomes important here. Next, the champion of the earth, so the wind man, Sri Tulsi Tanti. So again, when we talk about such individuals, okay, how what are their significance and how they actually play as role models and how the significant steps they can actually help enhance the spirit of sustainability among the individuals. So, Tulsi Tanti ji is founder of Suzlon Energy. So, 1995 में he found that out and he promoted wind power. तो wind energy का उन्होंने majorly use करा and India में भी and even globally. तो इनकी leadership के अंदर Suzlon Energy grew to be one of the world's largest manufacturers of wind turbine. बिजनेस मॉडल की बात करते हैं तो इनका जो बिजनेस मॉडल है बहुत ही इनोवेटिव था। इन्होंने वर्टिकली इंटीग्रेटेड मॉडल अडॉप्ट करा इन विंड एनर्जी, कंट्रोलिंग वेरियस स्टेजेस ऑफ द प्रोसेस, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग विंड टर्बाइन से लेकर एंड टू एंड सॉल्यूशंस फाइंड आउट करा ऑफ विंड एनर्जी प्रोडक्ट्स, जिससे कि रिडक्शन हुआ कॉस्ट में एंड सुजलन इट बिकेम अ कॉम्पिटिटिव प्लेयर इंटरनेशनली, which is why it becomes important. सिमिलर लाइंस पे बात करते हैं तो ही इज द विंड मैन ऑफ इंडिया, तो ऐसे ही वाटर मैन ऑफ इंडिया इज राजेंद्र सिंह जी। तो ये रिनाउंड इन्वायरमेंटलिस्ट है और जो इनका वन ऑफ द मेजर कंट्रीब्यूशन है दैट वाज रिवाइवल ऑफ 5 रिवर्स इन राजस्थान, अरवरी, रूपरेल, सरसा, भागिनी एंड जहाजवली। और अपार्ट फ्रॉम दीज इनके रिजुविनेशन के अलावा तो इनका जो रिवाइवल है ऑफ द ट्रेडिशनल रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग टेक्निक्स बाय द कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ जोहर्स अर्दन चेक डैम्स, जोड़ जो हम बोलते हैं, एंड अदर वाटर कंजर्वेशन टेक्निक्स इन राजस्थान एरिड एरियाज। तो इनकी वजह से ही poses a lot of importance and idealism. Awards recognition की बात करते हैं तो Stockholm Water Prize, known as the Nobel Prize for Water, he was awarded by that. तो वाटर राइट्स के लिए ऑल्सो ही एडवोकेटेड। तो की टर्म्स की बात करें तो ग्रास रूट मूवमेंट्स में इनका पार्ट था एंड रिवर रिजुविनेशन, environmental conservation, sustainable development. These are all the basic terms that we can discuss about here. So next is regarding having private participation in India's nuclear energy. So again, further we have been discussing since very long that we have a goal towards shifting towards a green energy or sustainability. So either he will talk about the use of renewable energy sources, which do not deplete the existing ones and also do not generate much of carbon footprint in the environment, which are the major two components or key features of when we talk about the pursuit of decarbonization. तो इसमें नॉन फॉसिल फ्यूल बेस्ड एनर्जी जनरेशन के लिए areas such as solar energy, wind energy, nuclear energy, all the reasons they become very important. Now, further, to reduce the public expenditure and to enhance the private participation. There have to be several acts, etc., so as to have a smoother functioning and participation of the private sector, so that the investments, the number of projects, and the quality of existing infrastructure as well. These all areas they can see significant growth here. And कैसे जो research innovation है, even that can take a leap forward. तो अगर हम बात करते हैं इंडिया का न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी प्रोग्राम, तो ये 3 स्टेज प्लान पर बेस्ड है, डिवाइस बाय डॉक्टर होमी भाभा, नोन एज द भाभा प्लान. तो ये एक्सप्लॉइट करता है इंडियाज वास्ट थोरियम रिजर्व्स. जो हम यूरियम बेस्ड रिएक्टर्स हैं, उनसे थ्योरियम बेस्ड रिएक्टर्स पर शिफ्ट होने की बात हो रही है इन द लॉन्ग टर्म. तो स्टेज 1 में अगेन प्रेशराइज्ड हेवी वाटर रिएक्टर्स. So it is based on natural uranium as fuel and heavy water as both moderator and coolant. तो ये जो फर्स्ट जनरेशन रिएक्टर्स है, they fall under this category. जैसे कि ककरापर एटॉमिक पावर स्टेशन, this is an example. तो यूरेनियम टू थोरियम वी आर डिस्कसिंग अबाउट. तो प्रेशराइज्ड हेवी वाटर, it is based on natural uranium. Then second we have stage 2 fast breeder reactors, जिसमें we will use plutonium. And कलपक्कम में है prototype fast breeder reactor. तो first we have pressurized heavy water, then fast breeder. फिर we have advanced heavy water reactors in the third stage, जहां हम बात करते हैं designed to use thorium and uranium. क्योंकि इंडिया का जो लॉन्ग टर्म फोकस है वो अपने जो रिच थोरियम रिजर्व्स है उनको एक्सप्लॉइट करने में. तो these reactors they are under development. So first we have the pressurized heavy water reactors, then we have fast breeder reactors, and then advanced heavy water reactors. तो हेयर अगेन न्यूक्लियर फ्यूल की एक साइकिल होती है, माइनिंग एंड मिलिंग, एक्सट्रैक्शन करना यूरेनियम और, जो मेजरली झारखंड और आंध्र प्रदेश से होता है. फर्दर फ्यूल फैब्रिकेशन हो रहा है जिसमें यूरेनियम ओर इज कन्वर्टेड इनटू फ्यूल फॉर द न्यूक्लियर रिएक्टर्स. Then we discuss about the reprocessing, which includes extraction of plutonium from spent nuclear fuel for its use in reactors. Then the last stage is regarding the waste management as well in this. तो अगर हम इंडिया की बात करते हैं न्यूक्लियर प्लांट्स की, तो इंडिया में वी हैव 22 ऑपरेशनल न्यूक्लियर रिएक्टर्स, और टोटल इंस्टॉल्ड कैपेसिटी कितनी है? इट इज ऑफ 6780 मेगावाट. तो अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन में वी हैव कुडनकुलम which is in Tamil Nadu. और न्यू रिएक्टर्स also डेवलप हो रहे हैं गुजरात, महाराष्ट्र, हरियाणा. तो फर्दर वी नीड टू डेवलप दिस कैपेसिटी मोर. और एक्ट्स और रेगुलेशंस की बात करते हैं, तो वी हैव एटॉमिक एनर्जी एक्ट 1962. तो इट गिव्स डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ एटॉमिक एनर्जी अथॉरिटी ओवर न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी and restricts the private participation in critical areas of nuclear energy. So we also have the Civil Liability of Nuclear Damage Act 2010. Then we have Nuclear Regulatory Authority of India Bill that is proposed now. और अगर इंडिया के इंटरनेशनल न्यूक्लियर एग्रीमेंट्स की बात करते हैं, तो इंडो यूएस सिविल न्यूक्लियर डील 2008 में ही हुई थी. And then we also have civil nuclear agreements with Russia, France, Japan, Canada, and Australia. अब आर्टिकल की बात करते हैं स्पेसिफिकली, तो हियर वी आर डिस्कसिंग अबाउट द पब्लिक एंड प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप्स. तो व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट एग्जांपल्स हियर, तो फर्स्ट इज भाविनी. इट इज भारतीय नभिकीय विद्युत निगम लिमिटेड. तो ये फोकस करती है ऑन फास्ट ब्रीडर रिएक्टर डेवलपमेंट. तो पब्लिक सेक्टर एंटिटी है ये. And then we have NPCIL, which is the Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited. So it operates all the nuclear reactors in India. A private sector participation के लिए Nuclear Liability Law है, which is the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act 2010. जहां पे अलाउ करा गया था प्राइवेट कंपनीज को टू सप्लाई न्यूक्लियर कंपोनेंट्स एंड सर्विसेज। अब जॉइंट वेंचर्स और फॉरेन कोलैबोरेशंस के लिए द गवर्नमेंट इज encouraging discussions. So these are the current and future prospects regarding it. अब इसमें अगेन आर्टिकल में द सेम पॉइंट्स आर मेंशन्ड हियर कि कैसे जो रिस्ट्रिक्शंस ऑन दी प्राइवेट सेक्टर दे आर करेंटली सेट अप। तो इसमें सोल्यूशन क्या क्या हो सकता है कि अगेन जो ट्रांजिशन है उसके लिए प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप इज इम्पोर्टेंट। तो जो 51% ओनरशिप है दैट कैन बी गिवन टू द न्यूक्लियर प्लांट्स अलाइनिंग विद द एग्जिस्टिंग लॉज। एंड फर्दर व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट सेफ्टी एटसेट्रा तो ये भी एक कंसर्न आ जाता है। फॉर एग्जांपल द चर्नोबिल डिजास्टर इट हैपेंड इन 1986 एंड द फुकुशिमा डाइची एक्सीडेंट ऑफ 2011। तो special leave petition and we talk about the civil liability law, etc. So all these areas are important to discuss upon, check upon to move with the further future prospects. Next is regarding India's silver dividend challenge to opportunity. So when we talk about the silver dividend, it majorly refers to the elderly population and कैसे वो एक global concern है India and China में, which are the two population giants in the world, to have disproportionate share of the elderly given their large population. और जो rising longevity है ये intensify कर रही है इस concern को every day. Further we discuss about कि क्या जो ये longevity है is it livable, is it efficient या फिर it is just filled with burden, economic burden and even low life satisfaction. So old age में we can talk about care economy. Further we also talk about the geriatric care या even palliative care. So these are the key terms that we can associate with in terms of health sector when we talk about the old age population. So here this is regarding the rising healthcare consumption and reform. कि जो ये रिफॉर्म इनिशिएटिव है इट नीड्स टू रिकॉग्नाइज द मल्टी सेक्टरल अटेंशन जहाँ पे हेल्थ सोशल इकोनॉमिक फाइनेंशियल एंड डिजिटल एरिया all these key areas are important to generate awareness among the individuals. कैसे फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट करना है एंड जो आयुष्मान आरोग्य मंदिर है AAM दैट इज ऑल्सो गुड इनिशिएटिव। एंड जब हम बात करते हैं PMJ की जन आरोग्य योजना तो प्रधानमंत्री तो here we discuss regarding the insurance health insurance कैसे even that can help the old age population। तो फाइनेंशियल इनसिक्योरिटीज को एड्रेस करना इज एसेंशियल हियर। क्या क्या स्टेप्स हो सकते हैं? फर्स्ट इज रिगार्डिंग peer support groups that can be there for interaction. Second is regarding the innovative schemes. जैसे कि अगेन जब हम आयुष्मान भारत की बात करते हैं तो उसके अंडर वी कैन टॉक अबाउट दी स्कीम्स हेल्थ केयर स्कीम्स। थर्ड इज इंक्लूजन ऑफ एल्डरली इन a rapidly growing digital environment कि कैसे they can stay updated with the new changing norms etc. और इकोनॉमिक सेगमेंट की बात करते हैं तो अगेन वी हैव सैक्रेड पोर्टल सीनियर एबल सिटीजन्स फॉर री एम्प्लॉयमेंट इन डिग्निटी पोर्टल जिससे कि जॉब प्रोवाइडर से दे कैन कनेक्ट। एंड अनदर इनिशिएटिव इज रिगार्डिंग द सीनियर केयर एजिंग ग्रोथ इंजन by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. So again, all these do exist, but will an actual old man actually be aware of such existing schemes? So how can we use the approach, be it digitally through campaigns or door-to-door approach, so as to generate awareness regarding these key aspects, so that they can actually be utilized by the individuals. Next, on gender performativity, how it challenges the gender binary. So Judith Butler, through her 1990 work Gender Trouble, reimagined gender as something we do, not something we are, and framed it as socially constructed phenomena. तो जब हम बात करते हैं डिफरेंस बिटवीन जेंडर एंड सेक्स की, तो सेक्स इज व्हाट इज बायोलॉजिकली इनहेरिटेड. वो एक ascribed स्टेटस होता है ऑफ एन इंडिविजुअल. यू कैन नॉट चेंज इट. इफ यू आर अ मेल फीमेल इंटरसेक्स यू विल रिमेन द सेम. लेकिन जेंडर इज समथिंग विच इज socially constructed. It is shaped by social norms, and it defines the social rules or the social norms that an individual has to follow according to their sex. तो वो constructed होता है. Major example that is mentioned here is many schools in India, while girls are expected, तो ये जो expectation है to have long, neatly tied hair, so this again comes under the definition of gender. The types of clothes an individual wears, the way the individual talks, walks, all these are considered as gender. क्या क्या roles जो perform करते हैं. And whereas a boy, if a boy grows his hair long, he may face criticism and be pressurized to conform to the traditional masculine norms. So here we can also talk about the social facts, which are the ways of acting, feeling. So sociology में this is the key concept which refers to कि all the things that are external to us, जो हमें पता नहीं होती कि they exist but they indirectly shape us, जिसकी वजह से we behave in a certain way. तो when we talk about gender performativity, तो ये क्या होती है? It involves the repetition of those acts and behaviors जो कि aligned होते हैं with the social expectations. जैसे गर्ल्स को बेबी डॉल्स देना एंड बॉयज को कार्स देना, तो दीज आर, या फिर इवन कलर से हम एसोसिएट कर लेते हैं कि पिंक इज फॉर द गर्ल्स एंड ब्लू इज फॉर द बॉयज. तो दीज आर ऑल द एसोसिएशंस दैट आर क्रिएटेड. तो टू एड्रेस दीज गैप्स, तो इंट्रोडक्शन होता है द कंसेप्ट ऑफ सबकॉन्शियस सेक्स, जहाँ पे जो इंडिविजुअल माइंड होते हैं दे आर इंट्रिंसिकली इंक्लाइंड टूवर्ड्स अ सर्टेन जेंडर आइडेंटिटी independent of social conditioning. So gender जो है it becomes both subject and object, shaped by the internal inclinations as well as societal aspects. This
And
is major.
also the article is mentioning two theories of gender also. So one is gender essentialism and the second is social constructivism. So according to gender essentialism, in simple terms, it posits that gender is best explained through biology, like sex chromosomes and DNA, it determines one sex. And it is defining gender. And when it comes to social constructivism, it explains that gender identity is constructed through the discourse, like it is not only the language but also the bodily, verbal and non-verbal acts. So it becomes internalized factor. And gender is more some we can say related to a person's identity also.
हम्म. तो यहाँ पे हम एक की टर्म की भी बात करें, दैट इज जेंडर सेंसिटाइजेशन. So as to make individuals aware and more acceptable to the gender identity of the individual. कि क्या उनका pursuit है, what is their orientation. Even when you talk about the LGBTQIA plus community. Next, Mithun Chakrabarti to get Dada Saheb Phalke Award. तो दादा साहेब फाल्के अवार्ड की जब हम बात करते हैं तो इट इज नेम्ड आफ्टर दादा साहेब फाल्के जी. तो ये कौन है? ही इज द फादर ऑफ इंडियन सिनेमा. इन्होंने डायरेक्ट करी थी इंडियाज फर्स्ट फुल लेंथ फीचर फिल्म राजा हरीश चंद्र इन 1913. तो ये गवर्नमेंट ने स्टैब्लिश करा था इन 1969, रिकॉग्नाइज और सेलिब्रेट करने के लिए जो भी कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ द इंडियन सिनेमा, इंडिविजुअल्स ऑफ द इंडियन सिनेमा. एंड अवार्ड में क्या क्या इंक्लूड होता है? स्वर्ण कमल, गोल्डन लोटस मेडलियन, सर्टिफिकेट और कैश प्राइज. और फर्स्ट रेसिपिएंट जो थी दादा साहेब फाल्के अवार्ड की, शी वाज देविका रानी, who was honored in 1969 of course when the award was introduced. और जो लेटेस्ट रेसिपिएंट है, ही वाज रजनीकांत. 2021 में ही वाज अवॉर्डेड विद इट. तो अगेन ये सिंबलाइज करता है रिकॉग्निशन ऑफ सिनेमा. अवार्ड्स का क्या सिग्निफिकेंस होता है? They serve as a recognition to the particular entity. So now Mithun Chakrabarti ji will be given this award. Next, Indian elephants lost genetic vigor as they moved north to south. Five distinct populations exist. So here sampling locations or potential barriers to dispersals. So evidence of elephant migrating from the south to the north study. कि जो northern elephants है population है diverged from all other Indian populations more than 70,000 years ago. तो 2017 का सेंसस बताता है इंडिया इज होम टू मोर देन 29,000 एलिफेंट्स. तो एरियाज आर मेंशन्ड हियर. फलगढ़ घाट, शेनकोटा गैप, सेंट्रल
तो
एंड
इस
नदर्न एरियाज.
डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ पॉपुलेशन शोकेस कर रहा है मैप जो है. सो जैसे पालघाट गैप लिखा हुआ है. So this gap, it is a low mountain pass in Western Ghats between Coimbatore in the Indian state of Tamil Nadu, and likewise we have Palakkad Gap. Palakkad Gap is in the state of Kerala. So we can say that this pass is located between Nilgiri Hills to the north and Annamalai Hills to the south. So Nilgiri Hills, they act as connectors between Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats in the state of Tamil Nadu.
तो इंडियन एलिफेंट्स की बात करते तो की फीचर्स क्या क्या होते हैं. जो इंडियन एलिफेंट्स होते हैं दे आर स्मॉलर देन द अफ्रीकन एलिफेंट्स with males typically weighing 4,000 to 5,500 kgs and height कितनी होती है 2.5 to 3 meters tall at the shoulder. और इनके जो ईयर्स होते हैं ये भी स्मॉलर होते हैं एज कम्पेयर टू द अफ्रीकन एलिफेंट्स. लेकिन जो इंडियन एलिफेंट्स होते हैं दे हैव लॉन्गर ट्रंक than the African elephants with a single finger, the tip of the trunk used for grasping objects. और टस्क की बात करते हैं तो नॉट ऑल मेल इंडियन एलिफेंट्स हैव टस्क. सम फीमेल्स एंड मेल्स दे आर टस्कलेस known as मखना.
And it is very rare that female they would be having tusks. So it is considered that the elephants, they do not have tusks. And the IUCN state is endangered.
it is endangered. और जो डाइट है they can consume up to 150 kgs of food and drink 40 liters of water daily. तो again when we talk about the different types of elephants found in India तो सिर्फ इंडियन एलिफेंट ही मिलता है. that is the only species that is found in India. पॉपुलेशन और डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की बात करते हैं तो there are 27,000 Indian elephants in the wild according to All India Elephant Estimation 2007 में जो कंडक्ट हुआ था as I just now mentioned. डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन में वेरियस स्टेट्स में जैसे कि कर्नाटका, केरला, असम, उत्तराखंड, तमिलनाडु, वेस्ट बंगाल. इन ऑल दीज एरियाज दे आर प्रेजेंट इन लार्जर पॉपुलेशंस. तो मेजरली
And
साउथ में एंड ईस्टर्न में एज वी जस्ट नाउ डिस्कस इन मैप एज वेल.
so Project Elephant was also launched in 1992 by the Government of India again to conserve the number of Asian elephants, and also elephants in India. It is treated positively and it is revered as a form of Lord Ganesha in Hinduism also. So it has been designated the national heritage animal in India, and it is also national animal of Thailand and Laos. So it is an important cultural symbol as well. Apart from this, when we are talking about its habitat, so it inhabits grasslands, dry deciduous and moss deciduous, and even evergreen forest also. So its wild population has declined by at least 50% due to environmental degradation, habitat loss, and fragmentation and poaching of the elephants for ivory. So that is why even we also see, because of environmental degradation, habitat loss, we see that there is increased instances of man-animal conflict as well.
Next, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act but a habit. Aristotle. So here we can discuss about the habits that we actually have, be it with regard to the tasks that we do in our daily life, या फिर even our thoughts, or what all is happening around us repeatedly. Are we ignorant towards it, or are we actually taking step towards it? And what change are we bringing about in our actions? और excellence की बात करते हैं तो again here we can talk about how uh, practice makes a man perfect. तो कैसे वो हैबिट में ही वो चीज इंक्लूड हो जाती है एंड यू ऑटोमेटिकली बिकम excel in that particular thing.
So other examples like it can be firstly related to our individual lives also as an aspirant, that excellence then is not an act but a habit. So what we are doing every single day, because it is stating we are what we repeatedly do. So later on when our goal is achieved, the habit gets converted or it is recognized as an excellence. And apart from this, we can talk about the life of again a homemaker also, like we cannot compare with her skills, his or her skills as well, because in a way, because every day what she has been repeatedly doing, she excels in those habits. Then apart from this, when we're talking about more higher level, when we say again, for example, Swachh Bharat Mission is again this thing, which was focusing upon our changing our behavioral aspect. So that was including that attitude or that behavior regarding clean health and hygiene, maintaining proper sanitation around our surroundings, was focusing upon including that as a way of life. So even that was one thing. Apart from this, we can say that, for example, research and development, that is also repeatedly doing the things, improving upon the mistakes, learning from the mistakes and the experiences, and then again going forward. So that is also repeatedly doing those things. So when we're talking about great inventions or the discoveries which are happening, that also fits into this saying.
Next, we have been talking about the air pollution. So we have been discussing regarding air pollution and case it is very severe in Delhi especially, and also in many other cities of India. So here we can talk about how the climatic conditions they are related to air pollution. Can they curb them or not? And also regarding the and these are apart from the anthropogenic factors. तो growing evidence है to support the belief कि जो unusual occurrences of extreme air pollution they are linked to climate change. तो in a warming world जो anthropogenic emissions है इनके अलावा rapidly change जो climate हो रहा है rapid change in the climate, तो it creates an additional uncertainty. So better mitigation efforts are required here at the individual levels. So actually, rather than just mitigating the impact, they can focus upon actually treating or providing a solution to the problem of climate change so that we can slow down this process at least, if not stop this process completely. तो एल नीनो और ला नीना की बात करते हैं तो मेजर इनका इफेक्ट क्या होता है वेदर पैटर्न्स पर. तो El Nino can lead to increased rainfall in the Eastern Pacific, जब हम बात करते हैं सदर्न अमेरिका की, और ड्रॉट कंडीशंस क्रिएट करता है इन द वेस्टर्न पैसिफिक, जैसे इंडोनेशिया एंड ऑस्ट्रेलिया के एरियाज में. और लानीना की बात करते हैं दैट इज ऑपोजिट, इट ब्रिंग्स इंक्रीज रेनफॉल टू द इंडोनेशिया एंड ऑस्ट्रेलिया. लेकिन जो साउथ अमेरिका का रीजन है वहां पे इट क्रिएट्स ड्रायर कंडीशंस. तो कूलर ग्लोबल टेम्परेचर्स होते हैं ड्यू टू द कूलर सी सरफेस टेम्परेचर्स, दैट इज इम्पैक्ट ऑफ ला नीना. तो इनकी अगर हम एयर पोल्यूशन से इनके रिलेशन की बात करते हैं कि हाउ आर दे रिलेटेड, तो एल नीनो इंडिया में वीकर मॉनसून से एसोसिएटेड होते हैं. तो ऑब्वियसली जो डिलेड और रिड्यूस मॉनसून है इट विल लीड टू हायर टेम्परेचर्स एंड इंक्रीज डस्ट एंड पर्टिकुलेट मैटर, वर्सनिंग एयर क्वालिटी। और लानीना की बात करते हैं तो ये स्ट्रॉन्गर मॉनसून सीजन्स क्रिएट करता है इंडिया में, जिससे कि जो एयर क्वालिटी है वो इम्प्रूव हो सकती है क्योंकि जो पोल्यूटेंट्स है वो वॉश अवे हो जाएंगे। फर्दर एक कूलिंग इफेक्ट प्रोवाइड होएगा, सिंस इट विल आल्सो रिड्यूस द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ ग्राउंड लेवल ओजोन, जो अगेन एक सिग्निफिकेंट एयर पोल्यूटेंट है। तो here La Nina can help, can play a role in decreasing the air pollution.
And because of this, also La Nina conditions which are developing as of now. So we believe that we are going to have more harsh winters because of this. So we can say that more like warm water is pushed more towards the equatorial Pacific or towards the coast of Australia. And apart from this, we can also again use another phase that it is having usually cold ocean temperatures in the equatorial Pacific.
Hmm. Hmm. So National Institute of Advanced Science and also NIAS SUFFER. तो ये मॉडल है for the analysis of climate processes using this model. तो ये concerning picture create करता है for Delhi. तो more severe winter as just now mentioned. So though air quality might improve relative to early winter, the situation will remain problematic in Delhi and parts of North India. Next, last flicker of a great tradition. So a glimpse into the world of Kishan Patnaik's ideas can help us deal with ideological void and political predicament that we confront today. तो पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी में इनका बहुत ज्यादा बड़ा रोल है, किशन पटनायक जी। एंड इनकी जो कंसर्न थी वो मेजरली ग्लोबल और सिविलाइजेशनल थी, लेकिन इनकी जो रिफ्लेक्शन है दे वर एंकर्ड इन द वर्ल्ड ऑफ पॉलिटिकल एक्शन एट होम। तो ये प्रोमिनेंट इंडियन इकोनॉमिस्ट, पॉलिटिकल एक्टिविस्ट और सोशल थिंकर थे। कहाँ का इन्होंने कंट्रीब्यूट करा था? एग्रीकल्चरल डेवलपमेंट में, रूरल इकोनॉमिक्स और इन्वायरमेंटल इश्यूज में। तो मेजरली जो फार्मर्स और रूरल कम्युनिटीज हैं उनके ऊपर ही फोकस्ड अपॉन। एंड ही वाज अ क्रिटिक ऑफ ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन। तो व्हेनेवर टू मेंशन द ड्रॉबैक्स तो उसमें वी कैन आल्सो मेंशन हिज नेम, किशन पटनायक। तो उन्होंने आर्ग्यू किया था कि इट लेड टू इंक्रीज इनइक्वालिटी एंड द निग्लेक्ट ऑफ ट्रेडिशनल फार्मिंग प्रैक्टिसेस। तो हियर आल्सो इट इज मेंशन कि जैसे जो ट्रेडिशनल फार्मिंग प्रैक्टिसेस हैं वहां पर ही हैड फोकस्ड अपॉन, and also self-sufficiency in the rural areas. So he influenced on the policy, जो policy makers और activists today हैं उनके ऊपर काफी इनका impact आया, and we advocated for the farmer struggles and livelihoods. तो critical insights में तो very important thinker ही है। Critical insights provide करते हैं ये with regard to agriculture, and main इनका focus traditional ideas की rejuvenation पे था against the hegemony of modern science. तो वी रिसेंटली ऑल्सो रेड रिगार्डिंग कि जो डिफेंस सेक्टर है उसमें भी जैसे चोलास, फिर अर्थशास्त्र, चाणक्य नीति, ऑल दीज हिस्टोरिकल एस्पेक्ट्स वर बीइंग आर बीइंग इनिशिएटेड टू यूज। फिर हम उद्भव स्कीम की भी बात करते हैं जहाँ पे स्टेट ऑफ द आर्ट जो इंडिजिनस जो क्रिएटिविटी है इन द डिफेंस उसके इम्पोर्टेंस की। सिमिलर लाइंस में यहाँ पर ऑल्सो द सेम डिस्कशन इज टेकिंग प्लेस। सो इमेजिन इफ यू कैन ऐड ऑन अ फ्यू पॉइंट्स कि क्यों इतना इम्पोर्टेंट है हिस्टोरिकल पर्सपेक्टिव्स को लेकर के आना इन द प्रेजेंट इनोवेशंस।
It is important firstly because they well fit into the Indian demands of the society or Indian needs and aspirations, rather than again like borrowing from the outside world or the developed countries. So we need to again look for what our experience, what our history says about the Indian society, how we have evolved. So we will get the solutions there itself. So that is one, we can say one main idea that we are looking into, or when we're even talking about, for example, decolonization. So even there also it is like shedding that colonial ideology when it comes to again shedding the behavior of nepotism, or there is when it comes to addressing concerns related to excess corruption is there. So there we saw that, for example, digitization, the DBT scheme, which eliminated the middleman, that has really helped in bringing down corruption. Or when it comes to again shedding that slave mentality, for example, in that case also we're talking about recognition of merit. And for example, in like Padma Award, we're not relating it to again, it is not, it shouldn't be superfluous or superficial. Then we can say, like, for example, we are talking about even in the Indian Navy when it comes to the naval insignia, which is again, it is inspired from Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. So relying upon the tactics of even the Cholas when it comes to what naval tactics did they adopt and did they use at that point of time, which really helped that time. And it is useful, it fits into today's times also. It can help in addressing the challenges that we face today.
Hmm. Thank you, Tiffany. Next is why a suicide pod is under legal scrutiny in Switzerland. So, Switzerland police last week said that it had opened a criminal case and arrested at least 4 people in connection with suspected death of 64-year-old American woman in a suicide capsule. तो ये क्या है? It is sarcopod from sarcophagus. The stone coffins used to bury an ancient royalty in Egypt, Greece, Rome. तो यूथनेशिया की यहाँ बात हो रही है. How is it different from assisted dying? So euthanasia involves a physician administering a lethal drug to a patient. So India में again euthanasia is not allowed. It is illegal. तो passive और active euthanasia की हम यहाँ पे बात करते हैं.
Active euthanasia is illegal in India.
Passive is illegal. जैसे कि removing the health support if the patient is not responding, ventilator, etc. So assisting dying, on the other hand, relies on self-administration of the lethal substance with medical involvement, restricted only to the drugs procurement. तो sarcopod again एक airtight 3D printed capsule है, which is placed on a stand with canister of liquid hydrogen. So person can press the button to release nitrogen gas and die by suicide. So although active euthanasia is banned in Switzerland, assisted dying and assisted suicide are legal as long as an individual ends their life without any external assistance. So define करना is important, this term, with greater specificity, external assistance, what it actually refers to. Next, export ban on non-basmati white rice
Well,
lifted.
now let me speak on the topic
Uh-huh.
itself, euthanasia regarding. So, Supreme Court of India, we saw landmark judgment, which was the Common Cause versus Union of India 2018 judgment. So, there, Supreme Court recognized persons' right to die with dignity, saying that terminally ill patients or the persons they can opt for passive euthanasia and they can execute a living will to refuse medical treatment. So further, the guidelines were also laid down for the living will made by terminally ill patients who beforehand know about their chances of slipping into permanent vegetative state. So this was also the case is also famously known as Aruna Shanbhag case, 2011 का case था ये. So it is a part of fundamental right under Article 21, dignified right to life. So dignity to die also is a part of it.
Hmm. The next article is regarding the export ban on non-basmati white rice lifted. So why and what are the likely impacts on this? So Centre Saturday lifted the ban on export of basmati white rice. So however, it has imposed the minimum export price (MEP) of $490 per ton. तो ban put क्यों करा गया था last year due to a marginal dip in the rice production and the looming threat of erratic monsoon. तो जो domestic consumers है उनको ज्यादा priority पे रखा गया and therefore this ban was placed. But now some factors that influence the decision is higher sowing or further even the good monsoon that is present, further surplus stocks and declining wholesale prices and the stable retail inflation. These are all the major reasons why now the ban has been lifted. So the center also allowed the state governments to buy rice for their welfare schemes and distilleries for ethanol production. The non-basmati white rice is constituted about 25% of the total rice exported from India. So there were several varieties that were hit hard by the ban. The farmers who grew them. तो सोना मसूरी तो ये प्रीमियम नॉन बासमती वैरायटी है सोना मसूरी. तो इंडिया का जो टोटल राइस एक्सपोर्ट है उसमें बासमती राइस अकाउंट्स फॉर ऑलमोस्ट अ थर्ड.
So this policy measure by the government, it led to the debate between pro-farmer and pro-consumer interest, where it was seen that if exports are banned for a certain time period, so it is seen to be more inclined towards pro-consumers because of the the measures needed to address concerns related to food inflation. So experts, they suggested that instead of going for like knee-jerk reactions in the form of banning the exports of different food grains, we can think of, because it is for a shorter time period, it cannot be extended for a longer time period. So what are other solutions when it comes to addressing this concern for a shortened time period is that we can rely on importing that particular food grain if it is possible. So that should be given priority. And second, or the last resort should be banning of the exports. Secondly, we can also talk about whether it raises the questions about the need for diversification of building buffer stocks for other food grains as well. Right now, we are like relying upon only wheat and rice. So in rice also, which type are we focusing more upon? So that is also one question. And here definitely the role of private sector is also crucial because we'll be requiring more cold storage facilities. Now here only we see that major player is the Food Corporation of India.
Hmm. तो freshers become lifeline for GCCs. तो global capability centers. तो क्यों ये इम्पोर्टेंट है अगेन स्टार्टअप बिजनेसेस और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट की जो हम बात करते हैं स्पेशली मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेंटर में एंड स्किल डेवलपमेंट में. तो इन ऑल दीज एरियाज ग्लोबल कैपेबिलिटी सेंटर्स दे प्ले अ वेरी क्रूशियल रोल. तो ये स्ट्रैटेजिक हब्स हैं फॉर इनोवेशन एंड हाई वैल्यू फंक्शंस. तो करंटली कितने कैपेबिलिटी सेंटर्स हैं? 1700 प्लस कैपेबिलिटी सेंटर्स आर देयर. लेकिन मोस्टली अगेन ये टियर 1 सिटीज में है जैसे बेंगलुरु चेन्नई हैदराबाद पुणे. तो बेटर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ सच सेंटर्स इज रिक्वायर्ड हियर. तो यहाँ से दे कैन रिक्रूट टॉप टैलेंट स्पेशली फ्रॉम द टियर 1 सिटीज. तो वैल्यू क्रिएशन पे यहाँ पे फोकस हो रहा है. So employment as well as skill development.
So we saw that earlier these global capability centers, or these are also known as global in-house centers, these were formerly back offices. These were set up by the multinational corporations for outsourcing services and the businesses. That was the initial intention behind setting up such types of like offices in different destinations or different countries. So of late, we have seen that these facilities, they have evolved into innovation hubs and centers of excellence. So that is why their importance became very important from the perspective of leveraging now their expertise in different locations, and this can collectively support their strategic objectives, enhance their operational efficiency, and deliver value across various business areas. For example, some GCC companies present in India is like Microsoft is there, Amazon, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, Deloitte, HSBC. So these are some of the examples of GCCs in India.
Semicon 2.0. So long discussions regarding semiconductors, various schemes, etc. OSATs, outsourced semiconductor assembly and test units. Or for those of modern technologies related to semiconductors, fabrications, etc. उनका setup करना. तो Semicon 2.0. तो a strategic technology partnership between Bharat Semi, 3D iTech and the US Space Force. तो फैसिलिटी सेटअप करने की बात हो रही है. तो अग्रीमेंट है बिटवीन इंडिया एंड यूएस. तो इट विल मेक इंफ्रारेड गैलियम नाइट्राइड एंड सिलिकॉन कार्बाइड सेमीकंडक्टर्स. तो ये और ज्यादा एफिशिएंट होंगी और ज्यादा थिनर होंगी. फिर हम एआई इंटीग्रेशन की भी बात करते हैं विद द चिप. जैसे कृत्रिम की बात करते हैं तो वहां पे बोधी विच इज अ फैमिली ऑफ फर्स्ट एआई फैमिली ऑफ चिप्स, उनके डेवलपमेंट की बात हो रही है. तो प्रपोजल्स आर देयर. एंड इंडिया का सेमीकंडक्टर मार्केट की बात करते हैं तो इंपोर्ट में फाइनेंशियल ईयर 2024 तो $33 बिलियन. एंड मार्केट की बात करते हैं तो दिस इज 24 में 39. एंड ये प्रोजेक्टेड है टू राइज फर्दर टिल 30.
So challenges like in India, when it comes to budget allocation, so it is it is $10 billion for the first phase, but it pales in comparison with the investments which are being made in other countries. For example, in USA, it is to the tune of $50 billion. So the challenge is how we are going to match this massive scale of investment.
फर्दर कोल्ड वॉर ब्लोज हॉट. तो जो इंडिया मिडल ईस्ट यूरोप इकोनॉमिक कॉरिडोर है, इट वाज अनाउंस्ड एट G20 समिट last year. So it is rarely mentioned in the context of war. So the first label, the curse, had a map depicting Iran's shadow across Iraq and Syria to Lebanon. Arc of Terror. Majid, if you can please explain this, what this means. So
So it
I
is
am
talking the again regarding the developments related to this IMEC corridor. Like we haven't seen any like developments or changes happening on ground regarding this thing, and this is also often missed also when it comes to when we're talking about why the war needs to comes to an end, why peace is important. So like here one challenge is this the arc of terror which is mentioned here. So how stable and how sustainably it can function is another challenge if this war does not come to an end. First is again its establishment itself.
Next, AI for infrastructure on COP29 agenda. The Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. So very important so as to mitigate the impacts of the natural disasters that take place. So here use of AI will be here and it aims to curb infrastructure-related disasters by using AI. The new initiative is here and mapping risk की यहाँ बात हो रही है. So hyper localized data and assessment.